Bear, and I'm also known as Jazz to a lot of people because it's easier. And just to let you know, I am originally from India, and but I left India as a little girl and grew up in Britain. And then in 1974 I came to Canada and I had got married to a Canadian Indian. So my life is basically both ways, Indian and English. So my cooking life is Indian and English as well. Anyway, but usually Indian wins over. So I figured, like, let's try and make something Indian. But this Indian recipe also works for a lot of English dishes too. Okay, so what we're going to do today first is make mint chutney. And mint chutney is got a kick to it. It's spicy, and it can go for a lot of Indian dishes. Like everybody knows samosas and pakoras, and also you can use it as a side to do with rice or roti, and also people like it on burgers and hot dogs and stuff like that too. I have a niece who just adores it for topping off her burgers. So mint, and to do the mint, you don't use the whole stalk because it's really firm. So it's actually easy just to pop off the leaves like that, and you just keep the last piece, and then the last piece you can just take off like that. Mostly it's so easy just to do this, right? And there, we're done. So it's been washed already. Cleaned, washed, everything's good, and there we are. This is our mint for our mint chutney. And the next step is cilantro. So say the cilantro stems are a bit more tender, so I only just take off like the harder lower parts, but usually I keep a lot of this stems in just because they're softer, right? Like there's some of the softer ones. So there you go. This is soft, right? It's pretty soft. So in the food processor, it's going to be okay. Like, you know, when you have a really long one, you just maybe want to, you know, take off a little bit. But generally, they're softer stems than the mint. So there you go. So here I have 2 bunches. Like when I buy them from the store, there's 2 bunches. And this is about half a bunch of cilantro. Some people call it coriander, some people call it cilantro. In Punjabi, we call it dhania. All right? And then we have red onions. You can use white onions too, but I prefer red onions. It's got more taste, I think. And tomatoes. And a piece of ginger. It's peeled and washed. And then hot chili peppers. Now, hot chili peppers can vary. There's long hot chili peppers, you can get serrano peppers, you can get Thai chili peppers, and I've stuck to the kind of medium ones, right? Sometimes these can be pretty hot, or sometimes they can be a bit milder. But Thai chilies are usually hot, but I thought for this occasion I will use these ones, right? And what happens is we mix it, and I'll put in some amount, but afterwards when we've mixed it all together, I usually do a taste test. Because sometimes they might not be hot enough and somebody might want them hotter, right? So what we'll do is first, I will put all of the mint in here. I need to put the mint in right away. And then to give it a little bit of liquid, try not to put any extra liquid in, like water or anything, because this will give off water. Now it's already peeled, so for the food processor I don't really need to chop it too much. So just into a few big chunks, and add it in like this. And then a tomato as well. That will give it some liquid as well. So just a few chunks of that. tomatoes too can be sweet or they can be a little on the tart side. So it's another thing you afterwards when you're doing the taste test you can figure out. Salt, I tend to not put too much salt at the beginning. On my recipe I've got 1 to 2 teaspoons, but to start off with I will just put the 1, or maybe 1.5. There you go. And a couple of the chilies, and I'll just cut them into a couple of pieces. They're going to blend. And then the ginger will always have to be cut. It's pretty hard, so you need to put it into a few smaller chunks. Now, maybe let's try and whisk this. Let's see what happens here. Okay. And sometimes it's, you know, they might can't get together in one spot, so you can open it and just give it a little shuffle around. And also, while I'm open here, I'm going to put a little bit of brown sugar in there. I'll put about 1.5 teaspoons for now. Then I'll give it a little. So let's take a peek here. I think I'll give it a little bit more stirred. It needs a little bit more blending there. Hang on. There we go. I like the chutney to be blended. It's not like a salsa that it has to be chunky, so a little bit more blending. Now, I had a lot of stuff in there before, so I didn't put the cilantro in. So now I will put the cilantro in. I don't want to put too much vinegar, so, you know, just about barely a tablespoon for now. And then if we need some more, we can add some more. Okay, let's get this mashed. Okay. Let's see what this is like now. Hey, let's see. Well, I think, personally, I would like more chili in it. So I'm going to put another chili and maybe a tiny bit of salt. Now I tasted it, and the salt of course, right? It has to be perfect. Like the chilies is what gives it the kicks. Actually, I think I'm going to put both of them in. Sorry about that. You have to have a kick. Chutney, Indian chutney has to have a kick to it, right? So it is important, and salt is always important because salt preserves, right? So it's not going to get used right away. Salt helps to keep it longer, right? If it's in the fridge, it preserves it more. And taste test. Taste, it's all about taste. Now, I'm just going to mix this back in because it's waste it. There we go. Okay. That's a lot better, the cake there. To me, that's just ideal for the hot, and the little bit of sugar just balances it out. And you could add pepper flakes. It makes it hotter, but it's for the look. If you want it to look, you know, have a little bit more color to it. Chili pepper flakes. I'll just add a little bit, just to give it a bit of color. There you go. It's not necessary. You don't want to. You don't have to. And there we go. We have mint chutney. We have mint chutney. Now we're going to make mango chutney. Now there's lots of ways of making mango chutney. There's so many different recipes out there. I have basically two main recipes. So one is a non-cook mango chutney. It's more like a salsa, cooler type of chutney. And mangoes. You can use whatever kind of mangoes you like, as long as they're nice and ripe and soft, right? And then cilantro, onions. I prefer red onions, ginger, chili peppers, and I also have brown sugar for this, and onion seeds. Right? And a little bit of clove will go in there, and a little bit of cinnamon will go in there. Okay, and maybe a tad bit of vinegar. It just depends on the aftertaste. If you want a little bit more tartness to it, chutneys always seem to be tart, right? So just in case, I keep that, and salt. And okay, so for this, right away, I will put this in here. I'm not really going to chop it. I'm just going to put it into a couple of big chunks, just like this. And then start with about 4. And then maybe a little more ginger. Ginger to sweet fruit chutneys is always, adds this extra nice flavor. Let's leave that for now. And I'll add salt to it. And about 1.5 for now. I'm just going to process this first. So, okay, let's add the rest of the onions. And this time I'm going to put the cilantro in as well. I'm going to leave a little bit out. I don't like to do it all in one shot, just in case. Sometimes for certain recipes you have to have, like if you're baking a cake, you have to have the exact amounts for it to turn out. But for chutneys and stuff, I think that you always have to do a taste test. Okay, now I will add tiny little onion seeds. About half a teaspoon, and about half a teaspoon of clove, ground clove. Okay. And also about 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Enough brown sugar. Let's see how this is. And I'm going to taste it. Maybe just a bit of salt. I think my recipe said 1 to 2 teaspoons, so probably by the time I round it up, it's almost 2 teaspoons. So let's just give this another little whirl. Okay, tell me that's good. There you go, voila, mango chutney. It's really nice on a hot day. If you keep it cool, it's a lot more tastier. So it just accomplishes any meal with, like, say, pork meal. You know how, I don't know in Canada, but from England, we used to have roast pork with apple sauce. Like, there was always a meat with a sweeter sauce. This is what this reminds me of. So this would go really nice with any chicken or pork dish, rice dish, or samosas and pakoras along with your mint chutney, a bit of mango chutney.